Today on Coding 101, the most important thing you will ever learn in programming. Also dogs.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Coding 101 is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
Welcome to Coding 101. It's the Twitch show where we give you the knowledge to live in the wonderful world of the Code Monkey. I'm Father Robert Balacer.
And I am Shannon Morrison. For the next 30 minutes, we are going to get you all learned it up on everything you need to know to be a code warrior.
Now, speaking of code warriors, Shannon, our code warrior has been giving our folks at home a challenge the last couple of days with regular expressions, right? I mean, it's been kind of a long slog.
Regex is a little bit confusing.
Yeah. You know, it's one of these things where I think everyone sees why it's important. Everyone understands why it's something they need to learn. But at the same time, there are so many modifiers and there's so many different ways to attach these different operators that people kind of get daunted.
You know, it was so funny. The other day I was working over at Hack5 and my coworker Darren, he pulled up a terminal and he started putting in regular expressions. And I was like, so this is totally cross-platform. This isn't just in Perl. It's so cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, if you've got a Mac, it's built in. Yes, I know that. But like, for example, I'm using a Windows PC.
Yes.
I have Perl installed on it, which means I can use Perl regular expressions at any time to do searches through my entire computer or any drives that are connected. So, I mean, think of it as your own private Google.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
but that's perfect.
If you're going to do that, you have to learn how to use it.
You do, which is why last week, that's all we did. All we did was talk about regular expressions, and today I wanted to show you a very quick and simple example that's similar to the one that Padre showed us last week to give you a really quick review. So if we want to pull up my computer real quick, I'll go ahead and show you the one that I created. So I just called it example episode 4, Shannon. So this asks, name your favorite YouTubers.
Yeah, we get a standard input, and then we know that that's a regular expression.
We know what this does. So
he's taking standard input, dropping into a variable called quote, and then he's using a regular expression to look through quote.
Yes. So we are searching for spaces. We're changing those spaces to enters.
New lines, right?
New lines, yeah. And then this is global, so it's going to look through the entire standard input. And then when it outputs, it's going to output each of their different YouTubers on a different line. And then I do a second one where I print out who is your favorite Twitter folks. So you put in standard input of all the different Twitter people that you really like to follow, does the same thing, and then it says, you said quote. Now this quote, let me show you what it looks like. I'll pull that up. Okay, so favorite YouTubers, let's say Twit, Revision 3, and Padre. Okay.
It's got Hack5 in there.
And Hack5. So when I hit enter, each one appears on a new line.
Okay.
And then it says, what are your favorite Twitter folks? So, you know, I follow Twit, so of course, Leo Laporte. And I also follow at Snubs, that's me, and at Mr. Snubs.
At Darren.
So when it does that, it says, you said Leo Laporte, Snubs, and Mr. Snubs. You should also check out Twit Coding 101 for news and updates from us.
Nah, we just hard-coded some advertising into that program.
Right,
well
totally.
done, very well
now,
done.
Now, another thing that I could also do with this is I could put, if they entered Twit Coding 101, I could say, oh, well, you should also follow this one. So I can see how this could be used on websites to make you purchase other things. Like, say I want to go on, you know, ModCloth and buy this dress. And then they say, oh, well, if you like this dress, you might also like this thing. So that could totally be used as a regular expression.
Well, this is one of the things that we've tried to explain. This is the power of the regular expression. And this is why, if you've done any search engine back-end research, you understand this is what they use. Because they don't want to just match the word. They're looking for particular strings.
Absolutely.
Like, for example, Patrick loves, for some reason, rabbits. So there are many.
For some reason, they're adorable.
They're adorable, but there are many different strings. There are many different data sets that may include rabbit in different capitalizations and different combinations. Well, you want a command, you want a method, you want a class that will allow you to look through everything for that particular pattern, no matter what it's attached to, and then you can make recommendations based on patterns that are found. That's the power of regex.
So cool. It
is
gets
pretty
me super, super excited about coding. Yay, I love this stuff.
Dr. Morbius is not excited about regex, but I think that's just because Dr. Morbius is dead inside.
Oh. Hey, we got a viewership example too in our Google Plus community. Do you want to check it out?
Yes, please.
Awesome. Okay, so this one comes from Scott. He posted an example that is basically a rock, paper, scissors game with a computer. It totally makes me feel like the computer's going to cheat. So I click on rock, paper, scissors. I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like. It says rock, paper, scissors, best of 3. Please select for game number 1, rock, paper, or scissors. So I'm going to say 3 for scissors. It says rock beats scissors.
Oh.
I win.
Oh.
I swear it's cheating. So this time I'm gonna say, I'll say rock. Hit 1. So it says, oh, it's a draw. He picked rock too. Yes.
Wait a minute, I'm seeing a pattern here.
Uh-oh. Okay, I'm gonna choose 3 again and see if it does the same thing. Ooh, it picked paper. Scissors beats paper. I win. No, I win.
Okay,
Whatever.
so I
Okay.
like this.
And then you hit a key to end. So now if I enter into this, I can go to edit. So he put in a whole bunch of if-else's, and then he also put in this thing called random. So right here, the computer generates a random number for the computer right there, and then depending on that number, it'll give you back a different choice
Right.
for each
Now,
one.
let me put a disclaimer here because I know there's some advanced computer geeks out there who are
Oh,
saying,
yeah.
wait a minute, your random number generator isn't really random. We know. We understand that. There
Yeah.
is no real easy way to do a random number generation in any code base, no matter what language you're using. But this will give us enough to give us some variety between the choices that the computer makes.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And then Scott did put in a lot of good comments into his code, so definitely check it out over on the Google Plus community. That's over at gplus.to/twitcoding101. And the last one I wanted to share with you guys today was from Daniel.
Oh.
So this isn't a code exactly, but he decided to share some of his research and his areas that he found regular expressions online. So he has 3 different links on here, and I'll open those up for you. One of them, I believe, is a poster, but these are all different regular expressions that you can print out so you can get to know them. Very, very good sheets.
Oh my goodness. This is actually
Very helpful.
exactly what we, believe it or not, we've been, both Patrick and I have been searching for a really good reference sheet for the long,
one's
long
great.
time.
Look at that.
Even the really good books about Perl don't have the collection of these things in one place. So this is incredibly
my
valuable.
goodness.
Make sure to check
Yes.
this out. This will be in our show notes. Thank you, Daniel.
Yes, thank you so, so much. It's
This is
very,
why we
very
love the
helpful.
group, because we have the hive brain. The hive brain seeks out the things that we need.
We do. We're like bees.
I don't make honey. Okay.
Moving on.
Moving on. I know that we've had some people who are growing tired of us doing regular expressions. This is pretty much the 3rd episode that we've been touching on it, the 2nd in which we've been going full on. I understand that it's kind of confusing. I understand that for people who already know regular expressions, it can be frustrating because you feel like we need to move on. But we've actually got a graphic here that was given to us by one of our users, SJH
this.
Canada. This is a classic XKCD reminding you why you need to know your regular expressions. Now this is fun. You know, they're talking about a killer who's followed a roommate on vacation, and they're saying, no, we're gonna have to
Can I
search
act
through.
this out?
Oh, yes.
Oh no, the killer must have followed her on vacation.
But to find them, we'd have to search through 200 megabytes of emails, looking for something formatted like an address.
Oh, it's hopeless.
Everybody stand back! I know regular expressions!
Now Padre's gonna swing in onto the set.
Perl. Hooray. Wow, that was actually really good.
Win.
Thank you. Woo, 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 woo. Okay, so folks, if you ever start getting tired of learning regular expressions, just remember one day you will save your roommate.
Excuse my horrible laugh.
No, let's move on. Okay, now we are. This is going to be an abridged version of a regular expression episode because we have spent a lot of time on regex already. I didn't want to belabor the point. This will be the last episode that we spend on regular expressions.
Okay.
But Patrick has promised us that in the Code Warrior section, he is going to introduce us to the most important thing you will ever learn about any programming language
Oh my
ever.
gosh.
And yeah.
Oh boy.
And he
that
says
sounds kind of scary.
he says that if we don't agree, we can have
I'm
his
a little
bunnies.
intimidated.
I know.
We can have his bunnies?
We can have his
Okay.
bunnies.
I don't agree. Just
Automatic. All right. So, but I thought before we get there, I thought maybe we should do a quick look at the regular expression so that we can understand exactly what's going on, so that we can, when we get to Patrick, we can better understand. Now, when we've been dealing with the regular expression, we understand that we put the name of the variable, right? We start with the name of the variable, and then we put the equal signs and the tilde sign, and that tells it, okay, I'm going to be running a regular expression.
Yeah.
Now everything after that is the confusing part. Now, everything before that, we've seen it before in other code bases. Now we're saying
everything before that basically doesn't change. Anything after that could be any regular expression.
Crazy, which is why we need to look through it and specifically look at the different pieces. Now, I like to separate it into 4 different pieces. You start off with the match operator. You move to the end. Remember, you separate these by slashes. You move to the expression. You move to the second expression, and then you move to the match expression operator.
Oh.
Okay, so just think of it as 4 different pieces. Now, the question is, what goes into each one of those pieces? Well, for the expression, we already know, right? The first expression is always going to be what you're trying to match, the pattern you're looking for.
So
right?
in our case, it has been the standard input from the user.
Right, yeah, so you look at that, and then, well, like, let's say you're looking for rabbit. So rabbit is what you're looking for, and you're looking through the variable, the string for rabbit.
Ah, yes, yes.
The second expression, if you've chosen to replace, will be what it puts in its place.
Right.
Okay, so that's really easy. The expression part is easy. What the difficult part is the match operator that goes at the beginning and the modifier that goes at the end. Okay, so remember that operator, modifier. These are the things that you need to know. Now, according to what we've been doing most recently, there are 3 match operators that you will see most often. In fact, there's really only 2, but we're going to give you 3. The first one is M slash. You remember what M does?
No.
M is just match.
Oh, match. Okay.
Right. So it just means find it.
Okay.
Doesn't mean don't do anything to it. Just find it. So if I had I don't know, say the script for Blade Runner. And I look for tears, and I put the M to match it. It will find the place in the script where tears are used, and maybe I can find that famous line of, like tears lost in the rain, which I can't do.
Boy.
That was an awesome line. Okay. Now S slash is slightly different, and folks, this is going to be in the show notes, so don't worry if you're not. Don't write this down. Just let it soak into your head. This is the one that we've been using most often. This is substitute.
Yeah.
So whereas M is just finding it, S means find this expression and then replace it with the second expression.
So like for us, we've been finding the
Rabbit.
word cat,
Yeah.
and then substituting it with the word rabbit.
Exactly.
With the slash S.
Right. And so that by extending that, we only need that second expression if we're substituting. If there is no substitution, there's no second expression, right?
So if you're just looking for a match, you only need one expression?
One expression. Then you would do the match operator, the expression, and then any modifiers.
Ah, perfect.
Okay. So M and S. In reality, unless you're doing some pretty high-end stuff, those are the only 2 match operators you're going to use in Perl. You're going to find matching,
but you said there were
substituting.
3.
Well, there's 3. There's TR,
What is TR?
transliterate regular expressions.
Wait, transliterate.
Yes, Patrick's smiling at me right now. He's like, yeah, we never use that. We never use that. I have seen. See, there we go. That's the face of a programmer going. Yeah, there's so many easier ways.
They
to
taught
do
me
it.
that in college. I don't remember.
Exactly.
We don't need that.
If you really want to use it, go ahead and take a look at the reference sheet that we got from Daniel. Practice it, play with it, and then you're going to learn that you're never going to use TR.
What does it do?
It's Patrick. I'm going to get to you when we get to Code Warrior. I want you to give an example of TR because I hate explaining it.
Okay.
I've pretty much only used it to convert uppercase and lowercase back and forth. If I want to make something all uppercase, I'll use TR to kind of change any lowercase to uppercase. But yeah.
Okay.
We call it changing everything to shouting operator. No. Okay.
Got it.
All right. Now, so we've got the useful match operators. Those are the 2. I'm going to call it 2, not 3. And then we've got the 2 expressions, depending, 1 or 2 expressions, depending if you're just matching or if you're also going to be replacing.
Yes.
Or substituting. And then we've got what are called the match operators. These are the fun ones because there are a whole ton of them.
So these are the ones that go at the end?
They go at the end, right?
Okay.
I talked about how we divide it into 4 pieces. These are in that 4th section.
Okay.
First one is G. We played with this. G
Global.
is global, right? It means match globally. Look through the entire thing and from beginning to end looking for this pattern. I is caps insensitive. remember?
Insensitive.
Exactly, right. It means that,
like,
we don't care. We don't care if it's capitalized. We don't care if it's lowercase.
Yeah.
You could put capital CAT or lowercase CAT or C capital AT, and it will still find it because it's ignoring capitalization. It's ignoring case.
Yes.
M means to treat the strings as multiple lines versus S, which treat the strings as a single line.
So does that mean if they entered in several lines, it would just treat it all as multiple?
No, it's a different way of looking at the variable. So remember, when we're talking about strings, they could actually be huge, right?
Yes.
And they could be multiple lines within a particular variable. A string is not like what we learned in C#, where it's just a short phrase. A string in Perl could be the entire file. So either I'm going to look at it with its proper spacing and its proper layout, or I'm going to look at it entirely as a single line.
Oh, interesting.
It makes a difference.
Yes.
It can, right?
Yes.
Now, there's also M, there's also O, which evaluates the expression only once.
Only once. Okay.
Right. So that's like, for example, if you just wanted to find the expression one time and then stop the search.
Oh, okay.
Right. And my personal favorite is X, which allows you to use extended regular expressions.
What?
Which is another way of saying allows you to use white space in the expression.
Oh, interesting.
Right, which again, you're going to need sometimes.
Yes.
Now, all of these things are going to be contained within the reference file that we got from Daniel. So again, Daniel, thank you very much. We're going to include a link for that front and center in our show notes. There are many more modifiers, so many more modifiers, but these are the ones that we want to play with. Please feel free to experiment with the other modifiers, with the other operators, see what they do. You can't destroy anything, but if you want to cut down on the confusion, stick to what we're giving you now.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
All right.
I actually could have used that X modifier, the one that actually includes whitespace in your expressions.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks back, I tried to write one where it searches for Amy Pond, and
Yes.
it replaces it with Rose.
I like
And
that.
I was like, why is it not working? And it's because I had a space in there.
Yeah.
Would have been helpful.
See?
Gosh.
Exactly, extended regular expression. Now, this is the time where we introduce back into the show our Code Warrior. Now, you know him, you love him, you've seen him for 3 episodes before this, plus all over the Twit TV network. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mr. Patrick Delahanty. Patrick, thank you for coming back.
Oh, my pleasure. Great to be back.
Now, when we were planning this show, you told me, you marked out episode number 4, and you said, this will be the most important thing they ever learn. You wouldn't clarify exactly what that meant, but I trusted you. Now, tell me, what's the most important thing that they're ever going to learn?
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this episode because this is the most useful line of Perl that you're ever going to learn. If you learn one thing in Perl, learn this. It's a command line search and replace.
Ooh.
Some people call it Perl pie, and you'll see why in a little bit.
Okay.
All right. So command line search and replace. So what you're saying is what we've been doing is we've been practicing with using the regex command inside of a program. So compiling it into some sort of usable form that we can run interesting programs like replacing cat with bunny,
Right.
or looking through and looking at your favorite podcasters. You're saying I could actually use the regex command at my command line outside of my compiler.
Absolutely.
Ooh, okay.
And so you can have a search and replace that operates on one file, multiple files, and just from one line of Perl. And so I use this very often, and it's the most useful thing I've ever done in Perl, and I'm happy to pass it on. So let's actually take a look. On my computer here, I've got some text files.
Bunnies!
Bunnies.
Yeah, there's bunnies too. But I've got some text files. And now before you do anything, make a backup. And I've already got a backup directory
Oh,
with
yeah.
these same files because...
Yeah, folks, you're doing a search and replace. So if you replace something you needed, it's gone. Just so you know.
And
Okay.
Good point.
I want to have a backup of these files just in case, fat fingers, maybe I'll type it wrong and I erase the whole thing. So before you even try this, make a backup. So I've got these files. This one, it's got a list of Twit hosts. I've got another one here that's just a list of mailing addresses. These are not correct addresses, so please don't try to
Oh, yeah,
those
that's
places.
totally my correct address.
Yeah, that's the police station in Oakland. So
Yeah, go there.
I've got the Star Wars script and Shannon's bio from the Twit Wiki.
I should update that.
Yeah, and so what I'll do is I'm going to go into my command line here, and I don't have a Perl program. I'm just going to type Perl, Pi-E. This is where you get Perl Pi.
So you're in the command line.
Yes,
Okay.
and I'll explain what the Pi and E do after a second here, but then I do a single quote with my regular expression. So I'm going to search for Shannon Morse, and I'm going to replace that with Shannon's married name. Shannon McTillituder. That's your married name, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so I'll replace.
So global.
So yeah, I've got global. Then I do the single quote to close that.
Josh, if you could go ahead and make sure the zoom in a little bit.
Yeah, it's up in the top line. People may have.
They may have issues.
I could make that windowed. Oh, there we go. Okay. And so then I'll type star.txt.
All right, now we should show folks that even though we're doing this from the command line, he's using the exact same format. So we've got the operator, we've got an expression, a second expression that you're going to use to replace it with, and then we've got the modifier, which is G, which we know is global, so it's going to look through the entire thing.
And then at the end, I've got star.txt, so it's going to look through any file that ends in .txt.
Is this any in your computer or any in that specific folder?
Any in this folder.
Okay.
And I could do, I mean, this is just normal file operations. I could do this.
Make it everything.
And it would be everything, every subfolder.
Don't do that.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
Let's not get crazy here. I'll just do every text file, and we're going to replace Shannon Morse with Shannon McTillituder. And now we'll go back to my files. If I reopen the list of hosts,
You're going to have to zoom in on this one, Josh.
I can make this bigger here. So if we look down, we'll see down here,
There you go.
Shannon McTillituder.
That's funny.
Now if we look in here, I'll reload the mail file. The big Shannon McTillituder, replace that one. I don't think your name's in the Star Wars script, but in your bio, I'll open that back up.
Actually, that is my address. It's something fake, Avenue.
Shannon McTillituder.
Now, there are some people.
really
There
cool.
are some people in the chat room who don't understand why this is so incredibly powerful. Let me give you an example, a real-world example. Here, we have a series of files that control the profiles in the TriCaster. Every once in a while, we have to make a global edit. Like we change a line, we change the way we use the lower thirds, we change the timing of something.
Right.
Well, if we needed to do it manually, what we would have to do
would take hours.
is have Alex go into the TriCaster, load each profile
Yeah.
individually, change it, make sure it's right,
No way.
exit, and go into the next one. I mean, consider how many shows we have on the Twit TV network.
That would literally take days.
It would literally take days. Actually,
too much work.
before we used to use regex, it would take days. But with this kind of command, what you can do is say, okay, look through the TriCaster profile folder, look for everything that contains the line that we're looking for. So the delay, or the name of the advertiser, or the name of the segment that we're changing in every show, and change it to Y. And it would go through, and within a couple of seconds, it would do everything. It would change all the settings in all the profiles at the same time. It's amazingly powerful, and I think that's why Patrick has a pretty good case for saying that this is the most important thing that a computer programmer is ever going to learn, because
I agree.
it has implications beyond just programming.
It can be used in the workplace. That would be so easy.
Yeah. Again, it's like Google for your computer.
useful.
Yeah, your personal Google.
Now, Patrick, I know this isn't necessarily a part of the tutorial for Perl, but just in case anybody is wondering, can you show them how to change a directory over to the correct directory for a text file?
Change a directory to the correct directory?
Yeah, in terminal. Or in
Oh,
the
just
command
change directory? That's just, yeah, that's, let me go into my terminal here.
line. You know, CD, dir.
Yeah, I had already typed the next command, but
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
We've got
I wasn't prepared for these.
We've got Zimzam in the chat room who's saying, well, you just use sed. Yeah, you could do that. But what's so nice about this is if you learn it for Perl, which you're going to learn it for Perl because it is so important if you're programming in Perl, you can now take that knowledge and use it without using any other utility, without starting up any other tool, without having to put on any other piece of software, your Perl experience to do the exact same thing that you would have it do when it's inside of one of your programs. That's actually very, very cool. I mean, when you think about it, that's a nice way to do it. Patrick, do you have an update for us?
Yeah, I've got, if you want to see the list of files, it's just on a Unix or Mac, you can type ls. On Windows, it's dir. If you want to change directory, like I have the backup directory, cd for change directory, backup. And then if I want to go up a directory, back where I was, like that. So this, you can just move around.
Yay!
But yeah, I did
And it's
mention...
pretty much the same in Windows, except for that dir.
I have the command line arguments that I had mentioned earlier, and I can explain what those do if you'd like.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Could you show us and actually give us a more specific use? Because there are some people who are saying, wait a minute, that's not all useful, or maybe it's only useful if you're a system administrator. You've got some better examples.
That was just my first example, but first I'm going to explain what these arguments do. The first one is -e, and that tells it that it's running this as a command line and it's not executing a file. So -e is just, this is a command line command.
Right.
-I is used to modify the input file in place. So that means I'm just updating the file I tell it to.
Right.
And -p runs the file with, it's as if it was in this Perl code here.
Right.
So it would be, whatever I type would be in here. And then if it doesn't work, it would give an error. But, so yeah, but Perl Pie, P-I-E. And so yeah, I can give another example here. Let's go to the one I had typed out before. Thanks, Shannon.
You're welcome. Just hit up a bunch of times.
I didn't actually execute it, so.
Oh, okay, never mind.
-e. So I'm going to look for \period. That means I'm not looking for the period which matches any character. I'm actually looking for a period.
Right.
HTML. So I'm looking for .html.
Right.
And I'm replacing it with .php.
If you had just put .html without the slash, it would have looked for everything
with HTML after it. Yeah.
Right. Whereas we're telling it, no, actually look for a file with the extension .html.
And then I replace it with PHP. And I want global and case insensitive, even if it's capital .html. I want to replace it with .php.
Right.
Lowercase.
So from what we know about regular expressions, what this should do is it should go through the directory, look for any file with a .html extension, and change it to a .php extension.
Yes. And I have a couple HTML files in here that we can take a look at before I go and modify it. And so there's this one here. You can see there's a bunch of links down here with .html. There's one .shtml, so it shouldn't change that one. There's also a couple links here. There's another link up here, but there's no .html, so it shouldn't change that. And then we'll look at this other file, because I'm going to change both. Let me zoom in. And yeah, this doesn't have any .htmls, so this shouldn't be modified at all. All right, let's go execute that code and see what happens. And it's done. So we'll go back. And I'll reload this file. Oops, I gotta close the,
Close all the
this,
things.
and then open it back up. I'll zoom in again, and yep, these three links are now .php.
Cool.
These are also .php, but it left all the other content how it was. So that's useful if you were just updating some web page content or whatever. If you're changing over to PHP, maybe in a future module for Coding 101, then you could easily change all your links that way. I've got another example. Now you'll see in these HTML files, I've got some comments here, and maybe I wanted these comments for my own coding purposes, but I don't need them when I want to publish them. So maybe
Actually,
I want to strip these out.
Da Vinci Wonder has a very interesting question, and I actually don't know the answer for this one. How do you can you create a log of the changes? Because I don't think you can do that, right? This is making global changes. That's it. There is no record of what's happened.
There's probably a way, but I can't
Unless
think
you're
of one
logging your
offhand.
keystrokes.
I mean, you could always actually do a full Perl script that logs all the files and goes through. But for a command line, offhand, I can't think of a way.
No, again, I think the only way would be is if you're actually recording your screen or logging your keystrokes. Sorry, Da Vinci.
But yeah, I've got these comments in the HTML, so let's try to remove those. But you'll see they're all different, so I can't just search for this comment and remove it. So I've got to do a little creative regular expressions here.
Bracket exclamation marks.
Yeah, so they do have that common bit because they all start with the this less than exclamation mark dash dash, and they all end with dash dash greater than.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear this out. Okay. Perl pi, and we will search for, and I'm doing the backslash before this unusual character, just
And that's
to be
again,
safe.
to make sure that it's actually searching for that caret.
Yeah, for the character and not for what the character represents.
And the hyphens are fine. I don't have to put the backslash there. And now I'm getting a little fancy.
What?
So what this does, I have bracket and then close bracket and the plus. And that means that it wants to find at least one of whatever's in the brackets.
Oh.
And what's in the bracket, I've got this greater than with the backslash greater than. But I've also got this caret, which means not. So what this is looking for is anything that is not close bracket or greater than. So I'm looking for this open comment and then anything that isn't this. And then we will go dash dash and then the end of the comment with the slash or backslash greater than. And I'm replacing that with nothing.
Oh.
And global, close that up, and we will do star.html.
I see what you did there, sort of.
So I've pretty much said the equivalent of what the star is over here with all of this saying anything that's not this end of comment.
Another way of saying this is the pattern that you're asking it to look for is you're asking it to look for that open caret and the close caret with those special characters, and then anything in between those two you're going to replace with blanks, with nothing.
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely. And so if we look at the modified code here, all my comments are gone. It's just a
that's
blank
cool.
line.
And
there's
it
one
also
here.
erases the greater than and less than signs and everything.
And so I've stripped the comments from this.
Yeah.
That's
Now,
cool.
folks, there's going to be a lot of people who are saying, okay, you still haven't shown me why. Well, why would I want to remove the comments from my code? But what we're trying to show you here is how you can dynamically generate pages, how you can dynamically change code, say, within a web page in order to make it match something that you want it to do. This is one of the strengths of Perl. We mentioned this at the very beginning, and it's something that we're going to be covering in the next episode. But before we get to that, you've got one more example, Patrick.
Yes, I do. And we'll go back to the command line here, and let's say that I want to get a little fancy with my search and replace, and I'm going to look for Shan. This, can you guess what this does?
S plus.
S is a
Searches?
space, but it's capitalized, so it's a non-space.
Non-space. Oh.
So this will match anything. It'll match Shannon, shenanigans.
I see. So it's looking for the beginning of a word and anything that's included in that word.
Yes, and everything for the rest of the word until it gets to a space or a new line, any space type character. And I've also got it in parentheses. And what this does, I'll explain after I type out the rest of this when I get to the second part. How did I spell that? There we go. I copied it. Sailor. This $1 is the first group in parentheses. So it's taking whatever matched in here and putting it wherever the $1 is.
Oh, that's cool.
If I put something else in parentheses, that would be $2 and then $3 and so on.
Oh, that's neat.
So I'm taking this and I'm going to find Shannon or shenanigans or whatever and getting rid of McTillitutor, and it's going to replace it with Sailor Shannon.
There you go.
And we'll do a G, and then we'll do that, and we'll do a star.txt, and let's take a look and see what happened. Did this work? All right, so here's the file before. We've got, let me make it larger. We've got Shannon McTillitutor, but if I open it up again, no, I don't want to save it. Let's open it back up and zoom in, and if we look down, Sailor Shannon.
Fantastic.
Da-da-da-da. That's awesome.
Now, Patrick, I will say this. I think this is cool. I think this is something that you should definitely learn, but I'm seeing a lot of disagreement in the chat room. So I will say this. If you disagree that this is the most important thing that you will ever learn in programming, if you think Patrick is full of it, if you think Patrick now owes you a bunny, please go to our G Plus group and tell him why, or tell him even better what you think actually is the most important thing you'll ever learn while learning to program.
Well, if they disagree, I'm going to search and replace their comment with something else. So.
Actually, that'd be interesting. Can we search and replace Google Plus?
Ooh.
Okay.
Hacks.
Now, folks, I know that this is a lot of information, so don't worry. We're going to make sure that this all ends up into the show notes. You're going to have our full notes. You're going to have all the code that Patrick used, and you're going to find that really cool reference sheet that Daniel gave us so that you can start playing around with regular expressions without freaking out and thinking that you're going to erase everything on your computer, replacing it with Shannon McTillitutor. That would be weird.
It's a great last name.
Now, Patrick, thank you so very much for being our code warrior yet again. Next week, I'm excited about this. Do you want to explain to the folks what we're going to be doing?
We're actually moving onto the web, and we'll be doing, if I'm remembering the schedule right, we're going to be doing printing to the web with Perl. So dynamic web pages.
Which is what you do all day. So this should be interesting. Patrick, thank you again. Do you want to tell the folks where they can find you?
Sure. You can find me on Twitter at @pdelahanty, and also check out my website. It's down there in the lower third, animecons.com, entirely coded with Perl.
See, it's Perl. It's for the real world.
The real world, MTV,
boom. Okay,
Twit
no.
style.
That's enough of that. Now, Shannon, we did promise them that they're going to be able to find out all of the stuff that we gave them,
we did?
right? I mean, we did. We told them to go to our show notes page. Where are they going to find that?
Yeah, that's over at twit.tv/twitcoding101.
Yeah. And now, if you want to get more than just that, you're also going to find a link there to the GitHub site that we're still using. I know, it's horrible. We're starting to realize.
I like GitHub.
GitHub's nice, but there's a couple of tools that we're going to use to make it more useful. Because right now, you know this, it's difficult for them to find part of it on the show notes page and part of it on the GitHub page. We can't put it on the show notes page because the formatting goes all wonky and it's useless to you. So we are going to find a better way for you to get our show notes. And thanks to everyone who's been sending in suggestions, we've been evaluating them. The reason why we haven't moved is because we don't want to change it and then change it again when we realize it doesn't fit something else. So it's going to take some time. Please bear with us.
We'll take some looking around, but we'll choose the best one possible for the show.
Yeah.
Also, we are on iTunes too. You can find us over on iTunes. Just search for Coding 101 and you'll find us in the search queries. I believe it's available audio and video, so whatever you need. It's great for commutes, that's for sure.
Yeah,
So
it's not just audio and video. It's audio, it's low quality video, standard video, and high definition video. So you can find the version that you want. Yeah, just make sure to subscribe. Now, also, did you know that we do this show live? We're live right now. This is actually happening.
Man, again?
I know, weird, right?
Crazy.
Every Thursday, 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. You can find us at live.twit.tv. And as long as you're going to watch us live, why not jump into the chat room? Yeah?
irc.twit.tv. We check it out during the show.
Yeah, it's
we'll
right down
answer your
there.
questions
We
if
see
you
it. We see.
something
Look,
good.
he's mad. So
Hi,
he's upset. That
everybody.
guy's threatening to beat me up. That's
Rupert
strange. But we
Dallas.
love the chat room anyways. Yeah. But of course, the big place to get a hold of us is going to be our Google Plus community.
Yes.
That's where she pulls examples from the audience
I
and
do.
puts it into the program. So if you want to end up on the show, go to gplus.to/twitcoding101 and go ahead and join. I think we're like 1,100, almost 1,100.
Over 1,100.
Over 1,100?
Yep.
It's over. I want to get it over 9,000.
Over 9,000!
Well, go ahead and join and see what the old and the young geeks over there can do for you. Finally, if you're not
Twitters.
into the G Plus group, yeah, the Twitters, right?
We are on the Twitters. I am at Snubs.
I'm at Padre SJ.
Oh, and you know what? We should say Cranky Hippo is at Cranky Hippo, who is just happening to get married today. So he's not
Right.
here.
And actually, if you could, go to Alex's Twitter page. That's ANELF. He's got a picture of him and Brian when they were kids. It's so cute.
Aw,
And
congratulations, Brian.
if you could retweet that picture and tell them congratulations on Alex and Brian getting married, that would be fantastic.
Oh boy.
They'll pay back for
And
that.
also thanks to Josh for filling in today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Josh, you did good. Until next time, I'm Father Robert Balacer.
I'm Shannon Morse.
End of line.
I'm just gonna.
What is he doing with his arms?
I don't know.
That's so weird.
He's an awkward child.
You know, the weird thing. Well, go back to that picture. You know, the weird thing about Alex is that he hasn't changed. He has got he
true.
still looks like that,
His
except for the
hair's a
hair.
little shorter.
Yeah, the hair is not so.
Still looks
so
the same, though.
afro. But yeah, Brian looks like
Bye, everybody.
an angry guy. Oh, look at that.
Wait, is
We got
that
Gray. We got
is
Alex.
that for what is that?
That's today.
That's today?
There's a lot
Yeah.
of beard there.
Holy crap, that's a lot of people.